The last is the starting point. That is, we must consider it as both a fundamental design instrument and a comprehensive production resource. So if we consider the design aspect, it's obviously the object that will give our project its final silhouette. If we look at this from a production standpoint, it's the essential tool that lets us shape the upper, attach the soles, and build the finished product. So it's of vital importance.
NewLast is a young 30-year-old company, and I have been a part of it for 27 years, so I have followed every single development. We can observe the company's long evolutionary path, especially when looking back at the very first models ever created. Furthermore, we produce high-quality machinery, advanced digitizers, and comprehensive software solutions for the prototyping and production of shoe lasts. So, to be more precise, we are specialized in industrial lathes specifically designed for this purpose. We follow the complete end-to-end process from the very beginning, starting with the initial digital model scanning phase, all the way through to the final production stage. I will attempt to provide a comprehensive yet brief overview of the various technological evolutions and revolutions we have introduced over these 30 years. It all starts from a specialized manufacturing and production sector regarding shoe lasts that was frozen in time. In the year 1996, we found ourselves taking a plunge into the past, where production was still tied to mechanical machinery and equipment. There wasn't a computer in sight, the model had to be placed directly on the machine to be copied, and the entire concept was that of the pantograph. So everything was based on copying and manual adjustments, making it heavily dependent on the operator. And this is the very first step we took, introducing full digitalization. So the physical model was first digitized, and the model went from a tangible object you held in your hand to a digital file that back then was carefully put on a floppy disk. And so it was like taking a 3D photograph at that moment, and it stayed that way forever. Why do I say this? Because a wooden model changes its volume throughout the seasons. Because of humidity and other factors, problems arise later if I try to reproduce it while having to use it as a reference. Using the power of numerical control, which we optimized and customized specifically for the last, we made it possible to take this file and replicate this design today, tomorrow, in a month, or in a year, whether in Italy or anywhere else in the world, in the exact same manner. And so, this represented the first major revolution we introduced. Subsequently, we improved the existing technologies. We introduced a digitizer that digitized the last completely, no longer just with the toe and heel, as this was the product that came out of the first generation of machines, with a support on the toe and heel that had to be removed by hand. Once the scanning hurdle was eliminated, we had a product that was now completely in 3D, and we introduced SDF technology, which has now become a standard, which allows the operator to create the entire last completely by machine without any manual intervention. So today's product is held by the crest and comes out of the machine completely finished. This was, let's call it, the second revolution, made possible by the volumetric scanner, being able to eliminate the manual work that still remained and all the issues of precision and repeatability that existed back then. Building upon this foundation, we then introduced specific cases for last automation, and as the most advanced technology, we introduced 3D laser last marking. This allows us to precisely generate reference lines on the last that are essential for mounting and assembly during the production process.
The audience we have during our courses is very diverse. There are students taking their first steps in this field, designers with a few years of experience, and technicians, meaning developers. I believe that the 3D course in general, but especially this week dedicated to the study and modification of shoe lasts, is specifically targeted and will be of significant benefit to every person here. Designers are able, after this course, to communicate much better with the last making technician. Developers can actually try to modify the last, at least in a digital way, and reach a certain point in their project in the development of the idea. And anyone working in this field must at least know what happens to the last, because it is the very beginning of the whole idea and projects.
Where do we see the pattern maker in 5 or 10 years, or the last technician? Even more digital than today, but without losing the experience. There is no system, even with artificial intelligence, that can intuit what the designer has in mind, what they want to create, perhaps from a photo or an idea, and transform it into a physical object, which is the last, which then also has to fit well and provide a good fit for the shoe. The evolution happening now is in the pattern maker's head, the transition and the modification that might still be thought of as it was done by hand. And so they try to do it with software, but using the manual method. It's about thinking with the digital tools they already have. So the software has tools that might not be the same as manual ones, but they manage to achieve an even better result. And this is the process and the evolution that, in our opinion, the pattern maker will undergo, starting to think digitally by taking advantage of the tools available today that they didn't have before, based on their experience. The latest generation scanner, this specific model, which is the one you have here at the school, has 3 main characteristics: precision, speed, and versatility. So it's a product that is fundamental today because everything starts with the scan. It's fully optimized for the last, has high-resolution 8-megapixel cameras, making it very precise, and it uses a technology today that has become somewhat of a standard, which is known as structured light. So black and white bands are projected onto the model, the deformations are photographed, and the 3D is calculated. Clearly, this whole process is remarkably quick and efficient. In a brief period of just 5 minutes, I can have the digitized last fully ready for the various subsequent stages and essential steps of modification or turning. In addition, we've taken a significant and progressive step that moves us even further toward the complete digitization of everything related to the shoe product. This means that soles, shoes, heels, and accessories can be fully digitized and captured. It is a scanner truly optimized for the last, but it remains exceptionally versatile and open to everything else.
In this part of the course, which is part of the specialized 3D course here at Arsutoria, we would like to give our students, all the participants, the valuable chance to understand what happens when they, as designers, ask to make certain specific modifications to more or less existing lasts, or ideas that they have obviously designed and developed themselves.
We believe the collaboration between Arsutoria and NewLast is very important because we're bringing together Arsutoria, the leading school for pattern making, and NewLast, which is somewhat the gold standard benchmark for the world of prototyping and last production. We're able to provide a significant amount of added value to the student as we can show them the full process and how prototyping and last production are fully integrated within the design of a shoe. So the goal is really to give the student a much more comprehensive and broader vision that they can take with them into their future careers, whether they're in a company they already work for or one where they'll work in the future.